My name is Matt Iavani. I'm a partner at Full Funnel, and I'm going to show you how you build a deal origination engine using clay.com. The way that you would really apply this is if you're trying to do automated sourcing for things like research and ranking of private equity deals or real estate deal flow. So the first thing is just understand deal origination. The way that this works right now is pretty simple. Deal origination is the process by which private equity groups or real estate investment groups source, identify, and evaluate investment opportunities. It is pretty much the foundation of successful investing. You need a deal pipeline of opportunities to analyze to see if it meets your deal thesis and then to be able to invest in. Right now, the way that investment firms currently do this is usually personal network referrals, getting inbound leads from intermediaries, doing outbound. A lot of folks that I've worked with in the past actually work at private equity organizations doing what is effectively cold outbound prospecting, looking for organizations that might be willing to sell. Also looking at inbound channels through things like brokers, and then some of them do use technology platforms, but most of this process is extremely manual. It's extremely outdated and fragmented. The core challenge is, number one, it's very resource intensive. Number two is there's a lot of noise. You just have to talk to a lot of people. And really the inconsistent scoring and prioritization essentially gives organizations this problem of having to invest time in candidate companies that just are never going to work out because of whether it's firmographic, technographic, or sort of composition issues. And all of this just slows everything down. The thought process is that when you build a deal origination engine, you're building it within clay.com. And what is effectively being built here is a living pipeline. It continuously pipes in opportunities from a variety of sources. So when I say variety of sources, I mean things like proprietary data feeds, public data feeds. And what you're able to do is take those data feeds and then apply agentic workflows to do the research, the analysis, and effectively to quantify and qualify whether or not that company fits the investment criteria or thesis of your investment firm. Then you can score and rank the opportunities, creating an easy way for you to allocate your time and capital to only the most choice deal opportunities that meet your investment criteria. The reality is, to automate, scale, and systemize deal origination, what you're going to need is essentially to have a thesis aligned pipeline. You're going to need to create a whole bunch of agentic workflows that do automated research, they do the scoring, and you want to be able to prioritize opportunities in real time. You want this to be just constantly running. So thought process here is what Full Funnel builds for private equity organizations is we essentially build a working engine full of clay opportunity tables that are usually vertical or investment thesis specific tables. These are ingesting large quantities of opportunity data, doing agentic workflows, leveraging things like Gemini, Claude, OpenAI, etc., to essentially go through and deal with any financial analysis, operational analysis, composition analysis, geographical analysis, so on and so forth. And then what we do is we create thesis-based scoring logic that gives you the ability to essentially prioritize and rank these different deals as they're being reviewed agentically. So when you work with us, it's pretty simple. We're just going to define your thesis and criteria. We're going to make sure we understand all the connected data sources that you have, tools that you're using. We're essentially going to run workflows to analyze this deal pipeline. And what you're going to get is just ranked deal opportunities in a very prioritized way with a lot of context. And that's going to give you the ability to essentially run your deal sourcing process way more efficiently than you're doing currently. So when you work with a deal origination engine, you're going to expect higher quality deal flow, reduced time to first evaluation. You're going to get to early opportunities before your competitors. This is all the go-to-market alpha that Clay talks about constantly, which is you're just simply better, faster, smarter than your competitors. And all of the decisions that you're making out there in the universe are going to be incredibly data backed. Now let's take a look at one of these engines. So this is a Vista Equity deal clay table. Just to be fully transparent, Vista Equity did not hire us. We built this purely on public available knowledge that they sort of produce on their website and various disclosures. And so this is just a representation of what you can build. And I think it's actually interesting to see how we built this without actually talking to anyone at Vista. So the first thing here is what we did is we essentially go out and we look for lookalike companies to the existing organizations that they're already investing in, if you're thinking about that roll-up thesis. And what we're doing is we're enriching all of the company information so we can focus on things like all the quantitative and qualitative and normal research analysts that one of these firms would have to go through, which is who are the founders? Are they a SaaS company? What's their vertical fit? What's their reoccurring revenue percentage? What are their gross margins? We're going to get fundraising data. We're going to go through and look at their valuation history, because a lot of PE firms do not invest in the very beginning. They invest in the middle or end of that investment cycle. We look at the investors that are in the deals details already to see what the type of investors are. We're going to go through and look at any sort of exit news. We're going to look at signal detections for exits. And what we're going to do essentially is then build a rubric or a scoring function so that we take what Vista Equity sort of displays on their website as their investment thesis. And what we're going to do is essentially create a lead score specific to that thesis and then essentially mark these as cold, hot, and warm. We'll then essentially tier them based on opportunity sort of focus. We'll highlight key gaps or risks. And then what we'll effectively do is we'll create a summary. And these summaries are going to be anything around opportunity, the top value drivers, so on and so forth. So if you look at this particular company, it has a business model that is SaaS. It is in fintech. The vertical score is a 12 out of 12. The approximate gross margin is 76. It is in the regions that Vista operates in. Their reoccurring revenue score, looking at things like their ARR band, where they are, their headcount narrative, months since last fundraising, all this information that would help them sort of identify whether or not it is a good thesis-driven investment. So this is just a quick example of what is possible out there with Clay. My name is Matt Iavani. I'm a partner at Full Funnel, and I hope to work with you in the near future. Thanks.